Today, I want to talk about 5 lessons I've learned from some of the tectonic shifts in the marketing landscape that have happened over the years. This is represented mostly by Google updates in my talk today, and it's by no means meant to be a history lesson. I was just reflecting on the past and some of these takeaways that have really served me as a marketer and helped me do good, meaningful, impactful work for clients. The first one of these tectonic shifts for me was Google's Panda update. And this really focused on content quality. What you're looking at on the right side here is an actual client page that I worked on. And this is all the content that's on the page. It's barely 100 words. And my big takeaway from this time period is thin content does not perform. And it certainly did not perform well after Panda. I know a lot of clients are adverse to having really wordy pages because they feel like their site visitors don't want a reading assignment. But if the content's really good and it's what people are looking for, they really do want to consume quite a bit of it. And sometimes they need that before they convert. So if you want to be a strong marketer or a powerful partner or collaborative client, it's time to embrace robustly informative pages. That could be a home page, a service page, a blog post. Any one of those really does warrant a strong outline and deeply informative sections. It's going to be good for your customers and it's going to be great for your SEO. The next update that I wanted to talk about was the Penguin update. This one focused on backlinks, particularly low quality backlinks. This screenshot right here is just a snippet from some of the backlink removal work I did at the beginning of my career. And basically what it represents is a large network of sites owned by a single individual who used to sell link placements to help sites rank well. And back in the day, this worked. You could rank #1 if you bought enough links. When this update came, it was pretty much overnight that sites that were participating in this were just knocked off the first page completely. There was a panic to remove them all, and unfortunately, individuals like this made a lot of money, not only selling the links in the first place, but then removing them when everyone panicked and tried to get them scraped from their backlink profile. The takeaway here was that easy links tend not to help. Essentially, any link worth having was going to be more difficult to get, if not really hard, and that's kind of the way it should be. Anything worth having shouldn't really be easy to get. There are still links that are fairly easy to get, and some of them are pay to play. If you're a local site, you might purchase a link on a Chamber of Commerce site or something like that. But this was a completely different thing. This was just spam. And I'm glad Google made this change. The takeaway for marketers and clients is that we really want to get authoritative, relevant, high quality backlinks into our profile. The next update that was significant for me was the Hummingbird update. This was Google's way of getting more sophisticated in applying context to a user's query. But it kind of extended for me to a philosophical change where we were once so focused on keywords and using exact match keywords in the copy of our content and using them a lot, even keyword stuffing, if that's a term you're familiar with. And after this update happened, it really helped a lot of marketers mature into the next phase of optimizing content, which is to make sure that that content is meeting the user's search intent. Personally, I not only like to meet their intent, but I like to anticipate it. So if I'm creating a page outline, I'll do audience research into things like people also ask questions, and I will try to make sure that the subsections of my page anticipate the next thing the user would be wondering about. What's the next most likely thing they might want to read? How can I draw them into the next section of the page to keep them engaged and keep them on the page and to develop a good relationship between that user and the brand? This was also a period of time where I started utilizing more natural language processing, like keywords and entities, and incorporating those kinds of things into my content. So it wasn't just relevant for the user, but it could be relevant for search engines as well. The big takeaway here, keyword stuffing is dead. It didn't make keywords unimportant. They're still important, and you can still win with exact match keywords, but the emphasis has been greatly reduced. In fact, when I produce content now, I just do audience research, I write first, and then I use keywords kind of like a final treatment just to make sure that we've got those signals somewhere on the page. The next tectonic shift had to do with a couple of Google updates, like the helpful content update, the medic update. I'm not sure if those were the official names, I can't remember anymore, but this was all about EEAT. So experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And getting those kinds of signals into your content and onto your website, along with things like proper author bios and credentials, professional titles, that kind of thing. What I started to do in this era was source my content from the experts first. Make sure I'm collaborating with the client. Make sure I'm getting in front of the experts and having them source the content and the writing that's going to go on the website. The results were far better, and it got me further away from that sort of set it and forget it marketing where some intern from an agency is writing content about plumbing in a certain area when they don't have that expertise and they haven't lived in that area. If you want to write great content, you have to go to the people that know about the topic you're going to write about. Go to them, ask them questions, do an interview, send them a questionnaire, whatever you need to do to get that information that's going to put your content over the top, take it to the next level, and outperform the competition. And the final tectonic shift I wanted to talk about was all the AI search and LLMs that have come into the conversation. And basically, when I reflect on everything that marketers are talking about now, it's so important to not be in that old model of SEO where you're just thinking about the website and about Google. We could definitely get away with that in the past, but nowadays you really can't. And I've heard people like Rand Fishkin say this, but the big call out is be everywhere. So you've got your website. What does it mean to be everywhere for your website? One thing I like to talk to my clients about is, let me ask you this question. Is what you do and what you offer and what you know represented on your website? The answer is almost always no. So in a lot of cases, the client isn't even everywhere on their own website. So that would be the first be everywhere that I applied. The second one is mentions, backlinks. You need to exist on the wider web. So one way you can do this is digital PR. That's something I love to do through platforms like Featured and Quoted. If you're a local site, you're definitely going to want to pick up those go-to local links like I was mentioning, Chamber of Commerce, any professional partners that you might have. And don't forget about directories and having consistent name, address, phone information. That stuff is still important. And of course, social media. This is one that a lot of marketers have neglected for a while because we didn't really have to think too much about it, but it's becoming more and more essential. And if you're someone who can crack this code and figure it out, because it is high effort, you are going to outperform the competition. Your footprint is going to be so much larger if you've got a website and you've got mentions on the web plus a presence in whatever platforms are relevant to your business. So that's why I've incorporated a workflow that allows me to interview an expert for just 30 minutes every month and then utilize and repurpose that information across a number of platforms. It's really powerful. It helps a lot with your presence in LLM search like ChatGPT web search. And honestly, it's just downright fun. Once you start doing it, the old way of just focusing on the website kind of feels stale. So there are 5 lessons for better marketing based on some tectonic shifts that have happened in marketing over the years. Number 1, let's honor the Panda update and create exhaustively informative content. Number 2, let's honor the Penguin update and create authoritative, relevant backlinks. Number 3, let's reflect on Hummingbird and not only meet user intent with our content, but anticipate it with great audience-focused outlines. Thinking about EEAT, we want to always lead with expertise. That's going to take our content to the next level and avoid anything generic. And finally, with the arrival of LLMs and AI search being integrated right into Google, let's amplify our signal and our reach by representing ourselves on our website. Let's do digital PR and make sure that our presence on the wider web is as expansive as it can be. And let's get on those social platforms that our audiences are using to make sure we get in front of them in as many places as possible.